Good morning students. So today we can start our third module, and the third module covers points and crossings, design features of a turnout, then detail of station yards and marshalling yards, signaling, interlocking of signals and points, then principles of track circuiting, then control systems ATC, CTC, etc. So first we can start with points and crossings. So points and crossings are a peculiar arrangement which is used in a railway track to guide the trains for directional change. That is, in order to change the direction of a train on a railway track, we are using the special arrangement, and that arrangement is known as points and crossings. Okay, that is, in the case of road traffic, if a vehicle wants to change the direction, it just needed to change the steering. That's only needed. But in the case of railway system, we have to provide an extra arrangement in order to change the direction of a railway track. So that arrangement is known as point and crossings. Okay, and the arrangements like points, crossings, turnouts, crossovers, and these terms are used for used as the arrangements in order to change the train from one track to another. Okay, and these points or switches, points are also known as switches. That is, this point is one arrangement and crossing is another arrangement, and the term points and crossing together known as turnout. Okay, that is points and crossings, the arrangement point and crossing together known as turnout, and point is also known as switches. That is, points or switches helps in diverting the vehicles. Points or switches helps in diverting the vehicles, and these crossings provide gaps in the rails so as to help the flanged wheels to roll over them, and this crossings provides a gap in order to have a smooth travel to the diverted track, and these points and switches divert the vehicle. So together these two arrangements, that is points and these crossings together known as turnout. So by providing this turnout we can change the direction of a train. Okay, so I think you have got an introduction or just an idea about points and crossings. So the points and crossings means it is a peculiar arrangement used on a railway track to guide the trains for directional change. So this region is known as turnout. Okay, this is also another turnout, this another turnout, this is another turnout. The necessity of points and crossings. So because of the wheels of a railway vehicles are provided with inside flange, so they require a special arrangement of points and crossings in order to navigate the way on the rails. So we have to provide an extra arrangement for diverting a railway track, and also it gives precedence to the faster trains in the same direction, and also it will give passage to a train which is moving in the opposite direction, or for connecting places not on the direct line of track. So for these purposes we have to provide points and crossings. Okay, and also to switch from one track to another and to change the direction also we need these points and crossings, and also to divert or converge the tracks. So these are the objectives why we are providing points and crossings on a railway track. Next is some important terms. First one, points or switches, and a pair of tongue rail with the stock rails are known as points. So I will explain this later, that is what is tongue rail and what is stock rail, and the arrangement of tongue rail with stock rail is known as points or switches. So it is provided in order to divert to the next track, that is points. Then crossing means a crossing is a device introduced at the junction where two rails cross to permit the wheel flange of the railway vehicle to pass from one track to another track. Okay, so by providing a gap, this crossing will allow the train to move on the next track, that is the diverted track, and that arrangement or that device is known as crossing. And turnout means it is the term denotes points and crossings with the lead rails, that is the combination of points and crossing with a lead rail is known as turnout. Points and crossing together known as turnout. Okay, lead means in this figure this portion, this whole system is known as turnout. Okay, that is the combination of points and crossings, and this is point, this portion is points or switches, and this point is crossing, this is crossing, and this is points, and this is known as lead. Then lead means the track portion between heel of the switch, this is the heel of switch, to the beginning of the crossing, and that track portion is known as lead. So the assembly of these points, crossing and lead is known as turnout. This whole arrangement is known as turnout. Okay, and this portion is points or switches, and this is lead and this is crossing, and altogether it is a turnout. Okay, I think it's clear what is points, what is crossing, and what is lead, and what is turnout. Okay. Next is facing direction and trailing direction. Facing direction means standing at the switch and looking towards crossing. So this is the facing direction here. That is, this is switch. When we are standing at switch and looking towards crossing, that is known as facing direction. So this is the facing direction in this situation, or in this arrangement, or in this turnout. Okay, then trailing direction means standing at crossing and looking towards switches. So here it is the trailing direction. Okay, facing direction means we are standing at the switch and looking towards the crossing, and that is this direction. And trailing direction means standing at crossing and looking towards switches, that is, this is the trailing direction. Okay, so I will explain one more. So in this turnout system, this is points or switches, and this is crossing. So this is the facing direction, that is standing at switch and facing towards the crossing. And this is trailing direction, that is standing at crossing and looking towards switches. And lead means this is the track portion between this switch and crossing, or points and crossings. That is, the track portion between heel of the switch to the beginning of the crossing is known as lead, and this whole system is known as turnout. So these are the basic definitions regarding points and crossings. Okay. So turnout means it is the simplest combination of points and crossings which enable one track, either a branch line or a siding, to take off from another track. So that whole arrangement is known as turnout, combination of points and crossings. And it is provided in order to give a safe movement of trains in either direction of both tracks. So that is a function of turnout. And there are two types of turnout depending on the direction of movement of trains from main track. That is right hand turnout and left hand turnout. Okay, that is right hand turnout means if the train from main track is diverted to the right of the main route in the facing direction, that is known as right hand turnout. So when we are describing about this direction, we are taking this facing direction as the standard direction. That is, I have told that there is facing direction and trailing direction. Facing direction means we are standing at switches or points and looking towards the crossing. Okay, so at that direction, if the train from main track is diverted to the right, that is known as right hand turnout. And if the train from main track is diverted to the left of the main route in the facing direction, that is left hand turnout. So we can look this figure and it will be clear. That is right hand, this is a type of right hand turnout. So here this is switch and this is crossing, or this is point and this is crossing. Okay, so what is the facing direction in this case? Facing direction means standing at switch and looking towards crossing. So this is the facing direction. Okay, so along this facing direction the track is diverted to the right. Okay, so since it is diverted to the right from the facing direction, it is right hand turnout. So this is an example of right hand turnout. Okay, so in the second case, if this track is diverted like this will be left direction in the facing direction. When we are considering this is facing direction, if the track diverted in this way, it will be left hand turnout. Okay, so here it is right hand turnout because along this facing direction the track is diverted to the right. So this is an example of right hand turnout. Okay, so this is also a right hand turnout because this is a point and that is crossing. So this is the facing direction and the train is diverted, the track is diverted to the right. So this is right hand turnout. Okay, next is left hand turnout. This is an example of left hand turnout because here this is point or switch and this is crossing. So this is the facing direction. Okay, so this along this facing direction this track is diverted to the left along this facing direction. So it is left hand turnout. If it is diverted to this way, it will be right hand turnout, because it is the right of this facing direction. Okay, here this is the left side of this facing direction, so it is an example of left hand turnout. Okay, so this is left hand turnout. So along this way it will be right hand turnout. This is left hand turnout because here this is the facing direction. Okay, so this is about different types of turnout. Okay, so these are the some basic definitions. You should read the textbook. So next class we can discuss about the different components of switches. That is we have discussed here. That is switch means it is a combination of a pair of tongue rail with a stock rail. So next class we can discuss about this first part. Okay, so thank you.